Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Frontline podcast, where we're going to talk my guys and people that we're not leaving the draft without this fantasy football season. We have my co-host in the house, Tim. How's it going
What's
today, Tim?
up? What's going on, everybody? I'm fresh back from the FF Expo. Um, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, and then we have a treat for y'all today. I know somebody that has worked closely with Tim before for the FF League winners. Let me introduce y'all to the FF Mad Scientists.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good friend of mine. He's over at the FF League winners. We both do some writing over there. He's got some great stuff, some great articles. So if you have a chance, go check it out.
Didn't make it up to the FF Expo though with you. That's a shame. Hopefully next year.
Yeah, next year for sure.
Yeah, I remember just looking down at my phone and Tim being like, bro, I'm drinking by myself. I need some backup. And I was like, damn, I feel bad.
I wasn't drinking by myself the whole time, but it would have been nice to
drink by yourself at all.
It was cool though. Trophy Smack set up a beer pong tournament.
I see flag football as well.
Yeah,
you and Trophy Smack just keep.
We keep running into each other. I don't know. Maybe they'll sponsor us one day.
Yeah, maybe they'll sponsor us someday. Yeah. But
you ready to get into it, man?
Yeah, I'm ready to dive into guys that I'm just looking at on the draft board, and I just really can't leave without them on my team. So I think where I'm going to start with, it's a receiver-rich class, and you don't have to take receiver early because how deep it is. But some guy that I'm not scared of reaching for in the early second, or if he falls to me in the middle of the third, is CD. I think, Gallup's going to be out for 6 games, but the opportunity is just too tremendous for him not to at the very least put out what he put out last season. And that's like his floor for me going into this year. He needs to be a top 10 guy to solidify himself in the fantasy world and to gain more credibility because he has a talent, but now here comes the volume.
Yeah, I'm in on CD this year. I love that pick. For me, it's kind of a make or break year. If he's not in the top 7 or 8, then I just don't think he has it in him. But I'm all in on him this year, and I believe he has a talent to put up those numbers.
Me too. I love him. A lot of the drafts I've been in, he's gone early second, mid second. Anytime I can get him late second or early third, like you said, automatic. I can't click the button quick enough.
Yeah, I just think volume is really key for me why I want him here because they're missing 205 targets between Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson. So he can line up in all 3 spots that you need a receiver to line up in. So he can play with that mismatch, but he can also be double covered at any play. So that's kind of why I like CD2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and hit your first, my guy, Aaron?
Well, the guy I've been targeting in 90% of my leagues is Cole Kmet. With tight ends, I typically like to either go for Kelsey or Andrews where I can early. And when I miss them, which is a good percentage of the time, I just wait. I don't want to go with the mid-round ones or even like the Kittle and the Waller. I've owned them, and I'm sick of the injuries and just up and down all over the place. And I don't like the mid-range ones and the Hawkinsons and Goddard. So if I miss my top 2 guys there, I'll wait, and somewhere around the 8th, 9th, 10th, I'm all over Cole Kmet. There's Darnell Mooney and the 70-year-old rookie there, and that's about it.
I'm the oldest rookie in NFL history is what I like to call him.
I love Cole Kmet this year. It was somebody I was targeting in the Scott Fish Bowl, but fortunately, Travis Kelce fell to me in the 2nd round, and it's pretty hard to say no to that, So, yeah, I'm all in. I'm trying to target Cole Kmet wherever I can get him. I'm right there with you.
The Kmet thing for me is kind of like the CD thing. Like the volume is just too much to pass on. Like there's nobody for them to really throw to in Chicago with guys they're grabbing off the street to come play at the X and Y. So, I mean, I like Cole Kmet. He is the only tight end in the past 10 years to have 85 catches and not a touchdown. So I think that's obviously going to change. He's going to score touchdowns because if he puts a couple of touchdowns by the stat line he put last year, then we're talking about Kmet in a whole different conversation.
Right.
I don't have the faith in Fields that I have in Dak, so that might limit it. But the price is so cheap. It's if he misses, you just drop him and you stream the position.
Yeah.
No harm.
Yeah, I think Komet, you said he had how many targets last year?
It's either he had 85 targets or 85 catches, but it's the most in the past 10 years to 15 years without a touchdown being scored by a tight end.
Okay, so he had 93 targets last year, 60 receptions. I'm just pulling this up on player.
Yeah. I was either targets or receptions.
0
so
touchdowns.
Call me out on that.
So
I'm not scared to be wrong. We're not scared to be wrong around here.
I'm a target chaser. I love targets, and to get 93 targets from the tight end position is amazing. And I think
he tops that. I say 115 targets for Komet this year.
That's a lot of money right there.
I'll take that.
Yeah, 24% target share for the tight end is insane, and I'm with you.
They're going to be down a lot. They'll be throwing the football.
I think when I went through my first round of projections, I think that's what I kept coming out with. And even 20, I kept looking. I said that's too high. I have to lower it. He's a low end mid range tight end. That's too much. And I just couldn't find a way to work the numbers to where he had less than 24%. There's no one.
Possible.
Unless who do they bring over there from Kansas City?
Pringle.
Oh, Pringle. Well, they're gonna kill Harry too, but
Pringle's the guy who's gonna kill Cole Kmet. Is that what we're saying? I'll take my chances.
So for my guy, household name. You guys know him. You guys love him. I'm going with Stefan Diggs.
Never heard of him.
Currently, he's got a underdog ADP of 7.9, but I'm sure you can get him much cheaper considering everything. And you look at Stefan Diggs, right? 160 targets minimum the last 2 years, 164 last year, the year prior, 166. Last year was a bit of a down year, and he finished as the wide receiver 9 on a points per game basis. So I'm looking to see those numbers increase. At least not his targets, but his receptions, his efficiency. I'm thinking around 115, 120 receptions, 13 to 1,400 yards. The hype of Gabe Davis is coming in.
That was my next question.
I'm not worried about Gabe Davis.
That don't really hinders Stefan Diggs at all. That's Stefan Diggs' offense. Besides Josh Allen, that's probably their most important player.
It's helping Diggs' ADP though. There's so much hype on Davis. He's fallen to the end of the first, beginning of the second, mid-second.
And to me, that's realistically making Diggs fall because, like, we're not gonna be like drafting him. We're kind of almost where we were drafting like Kelsey or Cup because we're entering Josh Allen's apex of his career. Why wouldn't we want his number one receiver? He's already produced the 4th and 6th greatest quarterback seasons ever in fantasy. Like, I'm buying in on Diggs if I can get him, especially if he falls at any part in the second round. Like,
I'm looking at Sleeper ADP right now. Sleeper has him at 14.7 ADP. Yeah, so an average of the second round. I'm smashing that. This guy's probably, to me, he's one of the few receivers that have wide receiver 1 overall potential this year.
Then we'll incorporate our little segment me and Tim like to do, like guys you'd rather have around him or Diggs. So like I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Your name's Aaron, correct? Sorry,
yeah.
I just keep thinking mad scientist. So in the first name basis here, but say you're in the drafting where he was saying at that 14 spot. You look up, you see CD or Diggs. Which one are you grabbing?
Diggs, I think. That's a close one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Go Diggs.
Okay, Adams or Diggs?
Diggs.
Diggs? Okay. Kelsey falls to you at the 14. You taking Kelsey or you taking Diggs?
Oof, that's a tough one.
14? We talking 14-player league or like?
Well, like at the
standard 12 team.
At the 2-2. At the 2-2. We'll call it the 2-2.
Round. Kelsey. I think Kelsey.
Yeah, I think you can't pass on Kelsey if he falls to you at the 2-2.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, especially in a tight end premium. But even in a normal league, I'm probably taking Kelsey.
I've got Diggs in a lot of leagues where I draft at the end of the round, and I've been able to pair him. Whether I draft him in the first or the beginning of the second, pair him with a stud running back. I got a lot of Diggs and Swift. I know you're not a Swift fan, but
So are you? So like if I'm drafting in a 12-team league, like at the 8 spot or in the 9 spot, like sometimes I'm pulling the trigger on Diggs there just because I really like him more than like Dalvin Cook and like guys that are going right there. So like, are you say you're drafted at the 8 spot and all your guys in running back are gone, all Jefferson, Kupp, and Jamar are gone. Kelsey's gone too, and the 4 best running backs. You're going Diggs or are you going Cook or Mixon?
I've been greedy. I've gone a lot of Mixon or Cook, and then I find he gets back to you in the second round 60% of the time. So I've got a lot of teams where I have that stud running back, Diggs, and then a few where I missed him and I'm not nearly as thrilled with. It ends up being Lamb or Devontae a lot of time.
Right. I've been in the situation, right? Like straight up, give me Diggs over Mixon in a vacuum. But in a draft, I think, like you were saying, Aaron, you can definitely take that running back and then Diggs just finds a way to fall to you at the turn.
Yeah. Yeah, because someone's always trying to do something new, find that new guy. So they're gonna reach a little bit on somebody. Like personally, like I don't know, I'd take Diggs over Cook, but I wouldn't take Diggs over Mixon, mainly because
I'm the other way around. I'll take Cook over Diggs, but I'm not taking Mixon over Diggs.
Man, just I sat back and really like soaked in like Joe Mixon's like what he did last season. Like watched the playoff run, I watched everything, and he was like without Mixon, they don't make it that far. Like he finally lived up to his ADP last year, and it was good to see. That's why I'm high on Mixon.
My issue with Mixon is I think you saw his ceiling last year. Like he had a great year, but
that's
I
how
think
I feel about Jamar. Honestly,
be careful.
That's how I feel about Jamar.
They'll come get you on Twitter, man. Yeah, be careful what you say about Jamar Chase.
Like, I'm like 10 times more in on JJ than I am on Jamar. It's a whole different thing, but I love JJ so much more.
You know what? This is gonna sound crazy. I don't have Chase as my highest ranked Bengal receiver this year. I take Higgins over him. I like Higgins.
Yeah, I'd take Higgins in the third than I'd rather.
I've got a couple of bets of Higgins to lead the league in receiving yards.
Ooh,
ridiculously good odds, but
I like it.
You're telling me that there's not a chance that we saw Burrows and Chase's ceiling last year?
Absolutely, especially from an efficiency standpoint.
Like I know their offensive line is better, but you know how many things fell in their way? Like, you know how many comebacks they had? You know, like
these numbers were better when they were both on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that Chase is the better of the two. Like, they're both elite, but
you can put me on record for saying that I think T. Higgins has a better career, like overall career, than Jamar Chase. But I said that last year.
But that to me is why Jefferson in Dynasty especially is the easy number one. His number two is Thielen, who's 32 years old, 33. He doesn't have T. Higgins to fight with.
And that's a perfect transition into my next guy, because my guy is on the Vikings. And you can find him crawling late in your draft boards, but I'm drafting KJ Osborne in every single format late in every single thing. Like
I'm in the fishbowl late.
Nobody's not going to care because he's that late, but he caught for 700 yards last year and nobody blinked an eye. In a year, when his first year,
it's like none of you even care.
In his first year, he caught for 0 yards, and then he comes in his second year off the practice squad and catches for 655, 7 TDs, super efficient. The game winner against Carolina, and like you said earlier, Kevin O'Connell is coming, and he is polishing up that pass attack. And anything happens to Thielen, or God forbid, anything happens to JJ, then Osborne.
When something happens to Thielen, that's what you meant.
Yeah. Even if something happens to Cook, they're gonna lean on the pass attack a lot more. And KJ Osborne, he's like CD. He can play all 3 spots. That's like he's mediocre at all 3 spots, so he can play all 3 spots if they need him to.
I think people don't realize, right? The last couple years, you're looking at Minnesota's offensive floor with Mike Zimmer as a head coach. Kevin O'Connell, who, under the Sean McVay tree, he's going to come in there. He's going to unlock that offense to the full potential. He's going to move Justin Jefferson all over the field. KJ Osborne's going to get in there, and he's going to see a lot more targets. You're going to see 3 wide receiver sets. He's going to be on the field a lot more. So I do love KJ Osborne as a buy. Super late. For redraft purposes, you can get him off the waiver wire, and he's a great stash.
I'm going to assume that Thielen went down last week, week 13-ish? Because in the last 5 games of the season, KJ had 12 points or more in half PPR and 4 out of 5. So I would say right when Thielen went down, he was usable.
I stand corrected. In PPR formats, he didn't score 0 points his rookie year. He scored -2 points. So just from that jump to the jump he had last year with, like you said, like being handicapped with not an offensive-minded coach when your team's strength is obviously their offense. I think KJ Osborne's going to flourish this year.
Yeah, I'm with it. Right behind you, bud.
I like him even more in Dynasty. I bought him in a few Dynasty leagues.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him in every Dynasty. In a couple leagues, people are stingy and want too much, but I'm trying to get KJ Osborne.
Well, what are you paying for him in Dynasty, right? Like, what's your...
Right now, I guess, like, I'm starting with... It depends, because I'm just trying to look at what the team has. Like, if I have a backup to a player that he needs a backup for, then that's what I'm trying to move for KJ Osborne. But if then I'm trying to like move him for a second. If you can move KJ Osborne for a second, then
I don't know. Him and for a third in a couple of leagues. I think I've also moved him for a second.
I would pay.
Nobody's gonna move Osborne for a third, in my opinion. That's like a slap in the face to me, just because I think like
he just said he did it.
I know he did it, but like this was probably months ago. This was probably like
23 third though. Everyone's sky high on the 23 thirds, and a couple of people who overvalued them. But so that's where especially next year though, that's where my cutoff I think would be. Once you get into a top 15 pick next year, maybe I think that's too high. So,
or if you have like an old veteran receiver that's still like pretty good for fantasy, but it's going to be irrelevant next year, then try to move him to a team.
So Thielen.
I mean, I was thinking more like kind of like.
Yeah, lower end.
If you have like Lockett or Woods sitting on your bench and you're not using them,
get him out of here.
I try to move him for Osborne.
I would pay a 24 second for KJ Osborne. I wouldn't do a 23 second, but I'd do a 24.
I'd pay Thielen for Osborne. Honestly, I would. I would straight up trade Thielen for Osborne.
If you're not a contender, yeah, absolutely. If you're a contender, I think you got to keep Thielen on your bench or on your team, obviously. He's going to produce in the games that he is healthy. But, yeah, no, I'm with you.
Man, KJ Osborne better pop off this year after, like, all the times I've, like, that's my guy. Like, that's one of my guys since the beginning of the season, since last year ended.
Do we want to just keep the Vikings love fest going? Because my guy was Kirk Cousins. So.
Hey.
I mean, we're probably going to reiterate a lot of the same points, but let's get into it.
Dude, I love Vikings. I love the Vikings this year. They're going to win the NFC North. But
my second most owned tight end behind Komet is Irv Smith. So I guess I'm really high on the Vikings this year. I've got
Irv Smith's going to be one of those guys that missed a year because of injury that we really don't know what he can do, and just like come this year and you're buying him at a value, and he's going to be a top 10 tight end. Like,
because of the thumb injury, but it looks like he'll be back for week 1.
So I will be honest. I know nothing about Irv Smith. Like I just looked up one day and everybody was hyping him up on Twitter. No clue who this guy is.
Super athletic young tight end who unfortunately got hurt, but now he was. The only reason Irv Smith is having this much hype is because they moved Conklin. Like the second they moved Conklin, Irv Smith went up the boards. So yeah, I'm just buying him because he fits that Higbee, Gerald Everett type. I'm buying all three of those guys if I'm streaming because they're just part of those offenses that are too high powered. There's too many plates to fill.
Size and athleticism, though, like you said, that's in my rookie draft. That's all. Jelani Woods, the tight ends, they're just the monster guys with insane metrics for testing for the athleticism.
Yeah, that RAS score.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's how I end up with Kirk Cousins. He's going 109 off the board as QB 15 on Fantasy Pros right now, and I'm never the early quarterback guy, so.
And that's a little bit of a discount because Kirk's never finished. Well, he's never had a top 10 finish, but he's never finished below top 13 if he's played if he's played a full year. Maybe he's had like a 9 or 10 finish. Like if I'm wrong, scratch me on
I
that. But
think
I'm
he
pretty
could
sure
have-
that
So he finished top 10 in Washington, but since he went to Minnesota, he is yet to finish. When
but
he
he's
played
still
a full
not finished
season,
outside the top 13, right?
when he played a full season, he's never finished outside the top 13.
Yeah, so that's
What was his high finish? Did you say?
in
He
Washington.
finished 5 in 2016. He finished 5th overall.
Random.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
don't like him that
I
much.
think that was the year that they were playing for their lives because that was Dak's rookie year. So the Cowboys were good that year.
So,
yeah,
so
they were
what
playing
I'm
for their
getting
lives for a
right,
lot.
I'm looking at all of Kirk Cousins' finishes, and they're all around 360, right? So he's been very consistent. I think the quarterbacks have just started putting up more points in recent years. So you can expect 360 from Kirk Cousins every year.
Fine by me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, what's that? 8th round, 9th round, 10th round?
Yep.
That area? I'll take that.
Probably
That's-
later.
That's a plug and play.
Well,
at
the
that
other
point in
reason
the
I like
draft.
to take him, especially if I have an early to mid first round pick, he is one of the cheapest handcuff like stacks you can come up with. You can get Jefferson early, he's the easiest stack. Like the Burrow Chase one, that's a little more pricey. Even Brady, you got to take Evans and Brady a little earlier. I like that stack if you can get Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm with you. So quick question. What are your thoughts on getting that stack, right? Just in fantasy in general. Is that something you look to do, or is that something that, you kind of just, if it happens, it happens?
Draft slot dependent, obviously. If I'm drafting top 3, I'm going running back. If I'm drafting end of the round, Jefferson's long gone. If I can get Jefferson, I'm targeting Cousins the whole way.
You're not pulling Jefferson in the top 3 at all? 0%?
I love the running backs. For me, it's always Taylor, McCaffrey, Eckler every draft I go.
After JT, I want Jefferson. That's just me. And then after Jefferson, I'll take CMC and that. But if I'm drafting at the 1-2, I'm thinking Jefferson a lot because when it makes it back to me, like someone that I'm super high on, like Saquon or Aaron Jones, could fall to me, and I can live with that if I have Jefferson at the 1-2 because I think at the skill positions he could finish at the 1-1.
Oh, he definitely could.
Yeah, I don't know. It really depends. Like obviously Dynasty, you can make an argument for Justin Jefferson 101 overall in 1 QB leagues.
And Dynasty, I'm taking Jefferson at the 1-1. If it's a 1 QB league,
I don't think you have to
unarguable.
Man, I think it's for sure. In 1 QB anyways, because running back loses so much value in Dynasty. The long-term
it's such a volatile position. Yeah. I'm more than happy taking a wide receiver 101 in Dynasty. In redraft, I think just because of the positional scarcity at running back, it becomes so hard to put a wide receiver in that top 3. So
I don't start looking Jefferson until I get to that range of Henry, Cook, some of the other guys you named.
The only running back in that, because I'm the only running back I'm thinking of taking over Jefferson, the 1-2 is CMC, off of pure upside alone. But I like him more than Henry. I like him more than Eckler this season. Eckler scored 20 touchdowns. I think Jefferson.
I'm out.
I
am out on
Eckler to repeat that, but
I think Jefferson can score 20 touchdowns this season. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards.
That's a hell of a season. That's Cooper Kupp season right there.
It'll be a good year for the Vikings.
Nobody's. It's just a Vikings love fest. Who's gonna listen to this?
I got a few friends.
Send this to all the Vikings fans that know. You want to hear your team gets hyped? Listen to the Fantasy Frontline featuring the Mad Scientist.
All right. So for my guy might not be as popular. I'm going Christian Kirk.
He plays for the Vikings?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. He just got that massive contract from Jacksonville. All right. Last year, he had 103 targets, 77 receptions, 982 yards. So just at that 1,000 yard mark with 5 touchdowns. He had a great year. It's going to be a nice little step up year. We're going to see if he can be that wide receiver 1. He is going to be Trevor Lawrence's main target. That's what they paid him to be. I mean, and
I'm
they
saying
had
you got to bring up that they paid him the back because that's the most important part about Christian Kirk. You're getting him in the 9th or the 10th, and he's going to get that wide receiver 1 type of money, so he's going to get the
Right.
wide receiver 1 type of looks.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to say this, and that I don't like to overhype preseason or training camp, but man, Trevor looks good. Trevor Lawrence looks really good. I think the Jaguars made the single best acquisition in the offseason out of any team in getting Doug Peterson. So, yeah.
That's my sole worry with Kirk. Did Urban Meyer completely ruin Trevor Lawrence?
Yes, he did. I don't think people realize.
Look,
right?
You're going to look up this year, and the Jaguars are going to have 8 wins, and you're going to be surprised.
Ooh.
Like that. That's 6 to 8 wins is where I'm looking at for the Jaguars this season because their defense is formidable, and Doug Peterson knows what he's doing. He is a good NFL coach.
He does have a Super Bowl ring, right? And you look at Urban Meyer, and I think people really underestimate. Urban Meyer is the worst head coach in NFL history. He's worse than Matt Nagy. He is the worst head coach in NFL history. So getting that monkey off his back, Trevor Lawrence, he's going to have he's still going to have some struggles.
Trevor Lawrence had the most eye-popping star-like plays out of any rookie quarterback. He threw the football better than he has the best mechanics and has the prettiest looking throw. I mean, that doesn't mean much in how you play, but he played really good. And this year I would say he's on pace to have, we're not talking about Trevor, but like a top 17 to top 15 type of finish. Same for Kirk. I think he could be a good wide receiver too.
Yeah. So you look at Christian Kirk, right? He had a 1.7 target separation. That's 22nd in the league. That's, we're doing good. Yards per target last year, 9.5. His ADOT was 11.2. That's 33rd, but it's in the upper half, And so I'm just looking at him, and he played a lot of snaps out of the slot last year. So I think they're going to move him around the field and get him open in any way they can. You look at who else they got. They got Zay Jones.
Marvin Jones.
I'm buying Zay Jones.
Marvin Jones.
I think Zay Jones is going to be good for them. Both those guys are.
You're looking at 140, 150 targets for this guy. So I'm a target share chaser, and give me that all day.
But they paid him a bag, and he's going as wide receiver 43.
No, that's what's crazy to me.
How is it not worth a shot at that price?
Right.
I don't even know what that would be overall. Like just wide receiver 43.
I'm trying to find him. Here we go. So on Sleeper, right, they got him at wide receiver 46 with an ADP of 107. So you're looking at around the 10th round.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But that just pays homage to how deep. Listen to that. ADP 107, he's wide receiver 46. So that means half the draft up to 107 has been receivers. That just pays homage to how deep we are. And if you're getting Christian Kirk that late when there's 50 receivers off the board, then you're probably gonna go pretty far into making the playoffs and in this league.
6 picks ahead of MVS, who I think people are lumping in with him because he's the other guy who got it.
That's so laughable.
The difference is one has actual talent.
Can someone bring up where Kirk was going last year with Kyler?
Oof. Last year's ADP?
Yeah.
I
know how we
I'll get back to you.
If not,
I'll
it
get
doesn't
back
matter.
to you.
But to me, that matters because I think I don't know. Trevor Lawrence could definitely throw the ball as good as Kyler Murray can.
Right. Last year's ADP, he was going around like 104 overall, I think.
So the same situation. I mean,
he's gotten
same thing.
And now he's gotten no bump in value after becoming. I mean, you could argue he was a 3.
He was
last year.
Wide receiver 74 last year.
Jeez.
Yeah, 74 wide receiver 74 last year.
No, I'm just saying, but look how many mouths they were feeding at the same time last year. Like, Ertz was a thing last season. James Conner was a thing last season. So, for Christian Kirk still to almost catch for 1,000, and then both of those things happened. Like, James Conner had the outlier 18 touchdown season. So, I think, when he's in prime position to be the lead skill position guy beside DTN in Jacksonville, he's going to have a good year.
Absolutely. Just off volume alone. And I'm not saying Christian Kirk is a uber elite talent or anything like that. You know what I mean? But I'll
talent.
reach for him in the 9th
He's a good
round,
talent.
and you're gonna get volume.
At 105th overall, where else are you like? Who else are you going to get who could be the wide receiver 1 on their team? In that
Right.
range? You're at wide receiver 4s on some team in that range.
Yeah. So I'm all in on Christian Kirk this year. I'm smashing him I'm smashing his ADP anywhere you can get him. Why don't you go ahead with your next guy, AJ?
So for my last one, I'm gonna go for another guy pretty up the board, low hanging fruit, but I can't get enough of Mike Evans this year. At the end of the second round, the fact that he's gonna be missing Godwin for at least 4 games in my eyes, they're just keeping him off the pup so he can be in walkthroughs and practice, so he's not missing much. Because who's his quarterback? The greatest quarterback of all time. He needs to be prepared. So I just think Evans has gotten progressively better each year he's played with Brady, especially in the touchdown department. And Brady has just done wonders for the back half of Evans' career. He keeps that streak alive, makes it to 10 1,000-yard seasons and 10 seasons played. And yeah, I see Evans being another one of those guys that has – it's not out of the realm of possibility that Evans finishes as the 1 overall receiver. So, yeah, I'm in on him. He did what he did last season with the 17% target share. That's going to go up dramatically. I'd say at least to the 23% mark.
Yeah.
I've been hit and miss on him. I targeted him early. I got him in Scott Fishbowl. I was getting him late second, early third. But then as his injury came up, and then Godwin is, hit and miss. They're not quite sure. Some say he'll be ready for week 1. I don't think so, but
I don't think so either.
And
I'd
then
be so surprised
if creeping up into the mid-second round, and it was getting a little pricey. He's someone, if I can get him in the 3rd round, I'm taking him all day. The second round is too rich for my blood, though.
If you're, I feel like he's even justifiable to draft at the turn there at the 2-3. Like if you have that 2-3 spot and it's 24 picks until it makes it back to you, and Evans is your guy, then that's the perfect spot to grab him.
You want to know something?
A lot.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you really happy here, Aaron. I got Mike Evans at the 410 in Scott Fishbowl.
Why would that make me happy? I didn't get him at the 410.
But that's also homage to like how crazy a super flex can be.
I got the Brady Evans stack in Scott Fishbowl, and oh man, I was salivating over it. I was waiting.
I didn't get it that cheap though. I think I got it. I went Brady, Cousins, and then Evans.
Yeah, I screwed up on my QB too. But no, I'm all with you on Mike Evans with that wide receiver 1 overall potential. You look at Chris Godwin, I'm projecting somewhere around week 4, week 5, 6, somewhere in that area, he'll return. And then even after he returns, you're looking at a couple weeks of just drop off in production.
Brady lost so much talent. Like we don't understand how much Antonio Brown opened up for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Antonio, no matter how crazy sick in the head Antonio Brown might be, Antonio Brown easily, like maybe you can argue Julio Jones, but is the most talented receiver that I've seen in my lifetime. In my young lifetime, Antonio Brown's the most talented receiver I've seen. Like the years that he had back in 2014 through 2017 were nuts. He won me a league. Like I drafted Antonio Brown at the 1-2 and he won me a league. So
I think you're just having nostalgia, man.
I think the Julio signing has helped though, because I've heard a lot of people just thinking that Julio is a 1-for-1 replacement for AB, but AB was a lot closer to his prime than Julio is now, and that's
AB could still come in. AB could still come in and catch for like 14. If he was the premier guy for a team, he can come in and still probably lead the league in yards if he got the opportunity to.
You're talking AB or Julio?
AB.
Oh yeah, but not Julio.
If he was dedicated and put his whole mind to the craft and cared about being there for a whole season, then Antonio Brown would still be a top 5 receiver in this league.
Sure.
Yeah, I suppose. It's hard for me.
Man, did you not watch those Steelers games, bro? It was nuts. Like Antonio Brown.
That was like 6 years ago, man.
Antonio Brown was the closest non-quarterback to win MVP in the past. I don't know how many years.
Yes, Antonio Brown is great.
His Twitter posts are great.
It is. I love his Twitter, man. He said the only regret I have is that I never got to watch myself.
Yeah.
Real humble.
I love it.
Hey, Antonio Brown said Jerry Jones called me the other day. So
Oh my, I don't believe anything he says. I'm here for the ride, you know. I
I mean, he
listen to
has
what
made
he's
it
got to say.
adamant that he wants to suit up for the Cowboys. It'll never happen, but he has said that on multiple occasions. But yeah, man,
So-
Antonio Brown, different type of talent. I'll talk about Antonio Brown for the rest of my life. How crazy he was and how good of a football player he was.
Aaron, who do you got next, man? I'm over Antonio Brown.
Last thing about him, actually, though, I had him in a few leagues in his prime, full PPR, and they included punt and kickoff yards. Oh, he was gold because all those punt returns he'd have. The touchdown.
That's when he stomped that kicker in the face. Do you remember that? Bro, didn't he get suspended for like one game for that or something like
I'm
a
pretty
slap
sure
on the
he
wrist
did.
or something like that?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Well, I remember that. Like now that I look back at it, I felt bad for the kicker then, but I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. He literally just put his leg straight up as he was running full speed.
You know, I also regret that he wasn't able to watch himself.
Yeah.
My next guy.
Man, just imagine what Antonio Brown could have been if he wasn't crazy with the Raiders.
Antonio Brown, if he wasn't himself.
You can say that.
But if he would have played a season with the Raiders, he would have helped Derek Carr take some steps in his career.
I guess.
Earlier on.
What you got, Aaron?
The next one feels dirty. 85th overall, running back 33, Chase Edmonds. Ugh.
Oof.
Felt dirty saying it, but that backfield, they always say target the ambiguous backfields.
Ambiguous backfields, JJ Zacharyson.
Ambiguous backfield and that dumpster fire there. They paid him. They got injury-prone backup. Nobody's behind him. How did he catch his passes?
He's in the chase.
First of all, we're not going to be talking bad about Raheem Mostert, okay? I won't have any of that.
His destiny is in his own hands because that's his backfield to lose, and he better watch out because Sony Michel's the third guy, and anything happens to Edmonds, Michel comes in, has one good drive, and next thing you know, they're riding him through the season because that's what happened. That's exactly what happened in LA. Akers is out. Henderson, he was either a shell of himself or injured, and Sony Michel has been in situations, has been in ambiguous backfields, aka in New England, the king of ambiguous backfields. And yeah,
it's a San Francisco situation written all over it.
Yeah,
it's real.
I love Edmonds at value, but I'm also not terrified to lose Edmonds if I draft him because I know Michel or Mostert will both be there on the waiver wire. So yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, this could be 6 weeks in, and you could be getting Gaskin off the waiver wire. Who knows?
Yeah.
Man, if Gaskin came out, and that'd be crazy. That's some Kyle Shanahan. That's some Kyle Shanahan shit. Because it looks like Elijah Mitchell's gonna play, but bro, it would be such a 49ers thing if Trey Sermon's carrying the load.
No, Jeff Wilson.
A year too early all the time. We're always a year too early on everything.
All the draft capital, it goes to Jeff Wilson this year. You watch.
We shall see. I do like Jeff Wilson. I got him late in the Scott Fish Bowl as well. So looking at Chase Edmonds, right? We're looking at he played 12 games last year, almost 600 yards rushing on 116 attempts. So that's 5.1 yards per carry, 43 receptions.
That's good.
I try not to use yards per carry. I'm more of a yards per touch guy. But
do you have anything about what his target share was? Because I know he's pretty involved in the backfield. So
James Conner's doing all the touchdowns, though.
Yeah, that's why I like Edmonds a little more than Conner. I wish they would have featured Edmonds because I think he's more talented than Conner. Conner just doesn't do anything good. He just runs and gets to where he goes somehow. He had 18 touchdowns, but had less than 800 rushing yards.
So stretches when he was the number one there for that. What was it, a 6-game stretch last year, the year before when who was it, Connor down?
Yeah.
Did they have someone there the year before, or was it Connor the year before?
No, I think they
just still had David Johnson the year
before.
That's
who it was. Yeah. Johnson went down, and I remember because I faced him in back-to-back weeks. I faced the same team, and he absolutely annihilated me with Chase Edmonds off the waiver wire.
So Chase Edmonds had 53 targets last year. That's 4 targets a game. That's pretty solid. I don't have anything for target share. He did have a solid snap share, opportunity share, and he only had 2 touchdowns. So if you get those numbers up, his target share he had a 13% target share, which is 7th among
And
running
Tua could be
backs.
a good deep passer, but what do we know for sure Tua's good at? Dinking and
Yep.
dunking. And where's Edmonds going to be? Right there for him to dink and dunk to. So I think you get a couple blocks in front of him, and Edmond can take a couple of screen passes to the house. So yeah, I'm in on Edmonds, especially at running back 32. Edmonds has been. I know Tim doesn't advocate this, but I love going zero running back and a lot of builds. Got me to the Get Right Championship, $50 best ball league.
Whatever. I'm all for a hero running back. I can do a hero running back. Zero running back is just. I think the running backs had a very bad year last year.
You got to be a brilliant waiver wire.
You do.
Waiver wire worker.
You do.
And you have to be brilliant with the trades. Honestly, that's where it comes in. Like you go zero running back until you're halfway through the season, and then someone has a shitty game, and then that's when you vulture in and be like, okay, yeah, I'll take Zeke from you when he's down with the PCL for 6 weeks. For what do you want?
I think
that's
you're
the
talking.
You're going to go for last
year. I'm not a zero RB guy, but I think this year I did it in 1 or 2 leagues, and it's not as bad this year. I had one league where my zero RB.
Yeah, because
I think I went 7, 8, 9, and I got Stevenson, Pollard, Edmonds as my 1, 2, 3.
I like
that.
That's
perfect.
I do
that's
like
perfect
that.
If you're rolling with guys in your first 3 when you have like Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen as your first 3, 1, 2, and 3 receivers, and then you like usually when I'm going zero running back, I'm throwing in an elite tight end in that build too.
I had Kelsey in that one. That's why.
And if I'm going zero running back, then I have to have the elite quarterback too. So I'm probably.
I think that's the one I told you earlier where Kelsey fell to me in the 5th, or not Kelsey, Mahomes. And I had Kelsey at the end of the 1, so I ended up with the Chiefs stack and just.
Damn, and Kelsey at the 1 and Mahomes in the 5. That's a value. That's a value. That's an elite value stack. I'm sorry.
I've ever taken the quarterback that early. I never take Mahomes or Allen, but in the 5th round I had no choice. So.
Wait, so I have a question. Did we already name all 3 of our guys?
I got one more.
Yeah,
you got one more. You got one more? Okay.
Yeah, I got one more. So my last guy is going to be Breece Hall. Breece Hall is going very underrated. He's got an underdog
name, surprisingly.
He's got an underdog ADP of 42.9, so that puts him in the 4th round. That's ridiculous. Rookie running back has finished in the top 10 of fantasy, I believe, in the 6 of the last 7 years. And so you're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for this guy because I'm taking him in the 3rd round, happily, especially if I can get him to fall to me in the 4th. I do like Michael Carter, but I don't think he's just going to eat into his workload enough to stop Breece Hall from getting at least a top 15 finish.
I see a 65-35 split there.
Yeah, I think at bare minimum, you're looking at Breece Hall as a fringe RB1.
Yeah, I think just like the statistics of fantasy football and history, like say that the best running back drafted in the class is going to finish top 12.
Yeah.
So
unless it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, unless it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Does that Wilson injury scare you at all?
What's up?
It helps or hurt the Wilson injury.
It depends who plays.
No,
because
it has no bearing whatsoever.
It depends
on
who
Breece
plays.
Hall.
Because if Mike White plays, if they announce Mike White as the starter, then I want Breece Hall because Mike White loves to throw the running backs. But if they start Joe Flacco, then I'll be much more in on getting Elijah Moore at value, or if he falls, because I mean that's where Elijah Moore really blossomed when he started playing with Flacco. When he started playing with Flacco last year, because he can stretch the field, then he's a veteran.
You gotta feel like Flacco's gonna dump the ball off 900 times though. So his catching his passes might go out for seconds.
Yeah, I think whether it's Joe Flacco or Zach Wilson under center, they drafted Breece Hall as a first running back off the board for a reason. They believe in him. They were talking about him being a first round pick, but it just didn't quite work out that way. All in, dude. For the 4th round, for a fringe RB1, he's probably going as, 16th, 17th running back off the board. I have to look it up.
I'll look right now.
Breece Hall, I want to say he's probably going to like anywhere from 14 through like 18 or 19.
Fantasy Pros has him as RB22.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Let me see what he's at overall.
I'm smashing that all day long.
37th overall, RB22.
What'd you say? I can't reach the draft button fast enough.
Yeah, 37 overall. Yeah, and 20
That
RB22.
extreme value, much like you see with Najee Harris last year. Najee Harris wasn't even a first round pick, but he's in a Steelers offense. He's a rookie running back. You know he's going to get the volume,
Okay,
and that was a smash last year for me. And I'm
let's play,
treating.
Breece 19 on Sleeper.
let's play the game we played earlier.
All right,
Going
would you
with
rather?
him, who do you have, Hall or Eli Mitchell?
Hall.
Hall.
Hall or Gibson?
Hall.
Hall.
And the two right below him, Hall or AJ Dillon?
Dylan.
I do like AJ Dillon this year,
And
but
Hall
it's
or-
still
He has way too many goal line shares because that's Aaron Rodgers doesn't have Adams anymore, so they're gonna creep down the field slowly, get to the goal line, then feed it to AJ Dillon. So
look. It's the
I
split
kind of
with
envy
Aaron
Dillon.
Jones. It's the split with Aaron Jones for me. If it wasn't for that, I would take AJ Dillon. But because
I think they're
Breece
both
Hall
gonna finish
doesn't
top
really
20.
have his only
Yeah.
competition is a 4th round running back, give me Breece Hall.
And I got one more, and I can't believe this is an actual question, but Hall or Devin Singletary, who's going 2 running backs after him?
How dare you, sir?
That's ridiculous.
Okay, then let me ask you.
How dare you ask me that question?
Tim, you're drafting, and you're taking your second running back at this point. So you went running back in the first round, and you have someone like Cook, and it's your pick again. You're at the 3-6. You taking Zeke or you're taking Hall?
Give me Hall. But it's very close.
I just think Zeke has.
I think I go Zeke because all the injuries.
Yeah, I have to go Zeke there. He's just too much opportunity. Like he's guaranteed opportunity. He's guaranteed.
I think they're going to try to incorporate Pollard a little bit more. I think Zeke is still going to be a great fringe RB1. I think they're kind of in that same tier.
Pollard's just kind of fragile to me. Like I feel like I'm scared every time Pollard gets hit. Like I get scared.
Yeah, they're going 8 picks apart on Fantasy Pros though, so you may not even get that choice depending
You
on
know.
where
So
you are.
they're back to back on Sleeper. You going Hall or ETN?
Oh.
Give me ETN.
Yeah, the
I
PPR
guess
upside's
it's
too high. PPR
I like
upside's too high with
ETN, but
he looks super elusive and flashy in their preseason game. Like
actually give me Hall, man. ETN has that injury. People don't really come back from that in the same way.
I
So
think things are different nowadays, though, with that type of injury. Like
Yeah,
you
but
can come back.
one coming back, they lose like half their explosiveness. Typically speaking.
Have y'all seen the preseason game? Because it's like ETN couldn't hit those holes any faster. In the preseason game, he looked like I saw that and I was like, damn, like he scored a touchdown.
I'll have to take a look
Honestly.
at that. And maybe that'll change my opinion, but
And him and Lawrence have that camaraderie. They're college best friends, and that usually correlates pretty well to the NFL. So I think he's going to be doing a lot of. Oh, this is another stat I wanted to say that is going to help ETN a lot. 11% of Trevor Lawrence's completed passes last year were screen passes. That's a pretty big chunk of his completed passes. So
you're worried that what they're saying may hold true, and he may be more of a wide back, split out wide, and they give all the early down work to Robinson if he's healthy.
does Robinson scare you at all for ETN if you have him?
I don't know what to think. The injury has made me a little higher.
Robinson's proven. Robinson, if we're talking about who's proven in this league, it's Robinson.
He's also an undrafted rookie or an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, the capital definitely leads towards ETN. Wasn't he the 4th overall pick or the 6th overall pick or something like that?
So Robinson,
yeah, but that was under the Urban Meyer era.
they could
and he's
completely
no longer there.
dispose of
Yeah, but
Robinson.
ETN had that season with Lawrence. Like it's not like he had a shabby season or anything. Like
No, not at all. I'm just saying you're looking at a new regime. You're looking at a new coaching staff. They're going to use ETN, but they're not going to use him probably in the same way Urban Meyer was planning to. So I don't think he'll be as focal part of that offense.
Okay,
Probably a benefit for
I know this is a redraft thing, but I'm asking one dynasty question since I know we all love dynasty.
Go for it, brother.
You're drafting at the 111. You're anchoring for your future. You going Javonte or you going Breece Hall?
Breece.
Yeah.
I'll answer after Tim.
I do love Javonte. I think he's an amazing back. I don't think Denver will ever give him the opportunity to be the bell cow because they don't want to see him get injured.
But
So give me Breece.
I think you're discounting what Michael Carter did last year. Like, it's not like he had an above average season for a rookie running back. Like, what you saw out of Carter is what you want to see for a running back moving forward. Like, so I can definitely see them taking, like, I can see Michael Carter and Breece Hall being a really good running back tandem, like, for years to come.
Through some of the articles I've written and the research I've done, it's not even about who's going to be more of a bell cow. I think the NFL seems to be shifting away from the bell cow, and you're going to see a lot more of these Melvin Gordon, Javonte situations. I just like the talent of Hall much more.
Which to me would be great for fantasy, because that means that there's more running backs to play, and we're not going to rankings aren't going to be so tailor made to running backs.
Less high end running backs and a lot more just grouped together. With
right.
The 40 split.
Yeah, I think
there's always going to be that one team because there are always for the rest of our lifetime going to be
Henry.
Yeah, I think in 5 years,
talented backs.
So. I think in 5 years you're going to see the first round of startups or redrafts being primarily wide receivers.
But the converse to that though is if they're going to go to a more split, it's going to have less wear and tear on the running back, so they might actually start to have some more longevity. Where their average career isn't 3 years of fantasy value, they could be a little bit more. But it'll be more years at less value. So it's catch-22.
It's just crazy, like what changed in the water in the NFL. Because if you look like back in the early 2000s and the 90s, like these running backs were elite for a lot longer than like what they are now. Like look how long Emmitt Smith was elite for. Like
I mean, the league is a lot different. Look at these guys are.
I know
they're made in a lab. They're not.
I had this conversation the other day. It's not just football. Everything's like this. I'm a baseball fan.
Just because it's more talented now, but it's not more physical than it was back then. Back then, it was more physical in the trenches.
I think they protect them a little more. Like I was saying with baseball, back 15 years ago, you'd have pitchers throw 150 pitches like nothing. Mm-hmm. Now they're on pitch counts and they're out after 80 or 90.
The
counts and health considerations now.
The problem is, right, you're seeing peak human performance, right? Scientists have found a way to push the human body to its brink. And unfortunately, it's not a sustainable thing.
I just think
you're seeing the best performance humanly possible, but it has such a wear and tear on the body that people aren't able to go as long as they used to. And they're just breaking down a lot faster. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, I'm not a scientist. I don't know, but I
just think we haven't came across those running backs yet that are gonna be elite for that long, because we just got out of the era where, like, I think Adrian Peterson's still kicking on some team somewhere, but we just got out of the era where like LaDainian Tomlinson and Adrian Peterson were like elite for so long. So I think we just haven't got to a point where like that elite back because there's always going to be that elite back that's elite for like 8 to 10 years. It's just
we do still kind of have one, and everyone except for you, everyone's undervaluing him. Ezekiel Elliott's been in the league 6-7 years. Lowest finish is RB12.
Yeah,
I mean, I just think after this year the Cowboys are going to move off of him, honestly, because he's going to hit the cap hits too much this year. So too much.
If they can figure out a way to work the contract situation where these running backs aren't taking such a hit on the cap, that they can continue to maintain that longevity and sustain their performance, then, you know.
I almost stood corrected too, or almost stood corrected. Sorry, because
stand is a great word.
I thought it was going to be Derrick Henry, and then his foot got destroyed.
That one's
Derrick Henry's. I kind of saw it coming because Derrick Henry was literally like having otherworldly type of running back years. Like it was just when you see a man that's 260 pounds running a 99-yard touchdown and then stiff arms half the team, bro. It's just like that's unstoppable. He
terrifies me this year. That injury is from repeatedly pushing off. The cuts he makes. He have to significantly cut his workload. He's going to be gone after 6 games again.
Hassan Haskins, baby. Let's do it.
I have Haskins and Chestnut in a whole bunch of leagues. I like Chestnut better, even though I'm a Michigan fan.
I love Hassan Haskins. I think even if Derrick Henry doesn't get hurt, like you said, you're going to see him have to split that workload. And I think Haskins is more of a comparable player to Derrick Henry than Chestnut.
We are going to have to wrap up in a few minutes, guys. I got a dentist and
I
Tim, I
wanted to
believe you're
end-
on the clock.
I wanted to end. Oh, this is your last. You haven't gone your last.
Oh
yet?
man, I'm on the clock.
No, he's on the clock in the league draft we have going.
Hey,
The last thing I want to talk about, two last things. I don't know how much time you have, but I wanted to mention them for a second. We'll start first with over the weekend we kind of got a blurb that Kamara might not get suspended. So how are y'all feeling? Is that push Kamara up to like first round type of draft? First round type of talent?
First.
Kamara's a top 10 back.
Are you taking Kamara over Cook and Mixon?
Take him over Mixon.
I don't think so. I think I take the other two.
So Henry or Kamara?
Henry. Oh.
Henry.
Bro, y'all are forgetting how Kamara is so elite.
I know he is, but
he wasn't good with Winston.
Yeah.
No Sean Payton, no Drew Brees. That's scary. I'm a Saints fan as well, but that one scares me.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that for a second because, man, I have Kamara in so much best ball because he was going so ridiculously late. So yeah, I'm kind of happy that it's working out that way. But rip Kamara for next season. is what I got to say. But last thing we're going to mention, I'm pretty sure the whole world's talking about it, but it went down today with Deshaun Watson getting suspended for 11 games, getting fined $5 million. So kind of just wanted to get y'all's headspace on that before we got out of here.
I'm not touching Watson this year. I think he's gonna. In the one little brief action we've seen him in the preseason, he didn't look good. I don't think the Browns are going to be that good. I think you're looking a lot like the Jaguars, where you're looking at around the 6 to 8 win mark, probably less than 8. So
the only
that's
way
where I'm at.
I think that doesn't come true. I've heard a lot that they might be looking to sign to trade for Jimmy G.
If they get Jimmy G,
that could be interesting.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Then they're winning those. Then they're going 6-5 if they get Jimmy G. In the
better about that offense.
I'm not a Jimmy G believer. I just believe Jimmy G's a winner, and he's gonna win. So
I like it. I mean, there's not much to argue against it.
Let me ask one last question. Say, because he's coming back week 13, playoff start week
12.
4.
Week 12 against Houston.
But he's not eligible until week 13. His first game is going to be week 13 against the Texans.
Oh, okay. I thought I read earlier that it was set up.
Which is like his first game back is against the Texans. That's going to be all over everywhere. The first
NFL did that on purpose.
Yeah, but
so he faces Houston week 13.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought it was week 12.
And then so say you are on the brink of the playoffs. You're missing out on quarterback. Deshaun Watson has a pretty soft schedule with those last 6 games. Like, are you making any moves to solidify a championship roster if you're weak at quarterback?
Taking my personal feelings out of it, no. I don't think you're looking at late winter or early winter in Cleveland, and it's not a dome. There's a reason quarterbacks don't succeed very much in Cleveland, in my personal opinion. And
he can run. But he can run. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
So can Zach Wilson, and he looked like trash.
I'm taking morals and everything out of this because, yes, what Deshaun Watson did was wrong and all this, but
he's not going to have 15 carries a game.
2 years from now, we're all going to be moved past this. Whether or not we like to admit it or not, this is going to be an afterthought 2 years from now when Deshaun Watson is going to be playing for the Cleveland Browns.
2 years ago, or 2 years in the future, maybe. But this year, as I make a playoff push, I'm avoiding Deshaun Watson.
So if you're rolling with Ryan Tannehill as your QB1 and then the rest of your team stacked and someone throws you an offer for Deshaun, I mean,
what's the price is my question.
Right.
It's probably in a 1 QB league, there's probably someone startable that I can go with on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Amen.
The price is right, sure, but if I've got to give up one of my starters or flex players for him, I'd rather just take someone off the waiver wire and stream matchups.
Check it out. I'm gonna drop Watson's remaining schedule. Right, you got Houston, Cincinnati, Baltimore, the Saints, Washington, and Pittsburgh. Those are all pretty decent defenses, except for Houston. Cincinnati beefed up their defense a little bit. New Orleans has a great defense. I'd rather try to find Jameis Winston on the waiver wire, personally.
I think y'all are just discounting how much of like a talent. Like he's gonna be rusty, but Deshaun Watson's a great
No,
quarterback.
He was quarterback 5 every year. He was elite. I don't know. He's looked terrible.
Not like he has
Hasn't
shabby
played
weapons either. Like he's gonna have Chubb, he's gonna have Cooper, he's gonna have
bad weather. and
Donovan
they love to run.
Peoples-Jones.
We'll have to debate this more later.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
go ahead and get Aaron out of
Let's
here.
get Aaron out of here. So yeah, plug up one more time where they can find you, Aaron.
I'm writing at theleaguewinners.com. You can follow me on Twitter at FFMadScientist.
Awesome. Y'all can find me and Tim right here, or I guess y'all can read it because we're just recording this and put it out there. Y'all can follow me at FFT_AJ on Twitter. Y'all can follow Tim at two capital Fs _ Reese, and then you can follow us on Twitter at @FRONTLINE_FF and subscribe to our YouTube channel that we just created. I don't know how much we're going to be putting out there because I know we're more pod. We're
gonna be putting a lot of stuff out there. It's gonna be great.
We got this.
All right, thanks for stopping by, Aaron. Hopefully we can have you on another time.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Right.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.